Alright, hey guys, my name is Bailey Pender, and today I'll be presenting on the sense known as taste, and its more formal name is gustation. Now, throughout the PowerPoint, I'll be providing visuals because me being a visual learner, I find it very useful to connect concepts or key points that you're going over with visualizations. And being an RBT, I wanted to put this picture specifically coming from the book, if you're familiar, The Very Hungry Caterpillar, because looking at all these foods, they have different flavors, it makes me think, and my mind goes straight to taste. Now, our objective for today will be to describe the sensory and perceptual properties of gustation. Now, taste is the sense and perception that develops through interactions of dissolved molecules with taste buds. Now, taste isn't one conglomerate. There are actually 5 somatolites of taste. They are sweet, salty, bitter, sour, and umami. Now, umami was actually recently discovered in the late 80s. It's more of a savory taste. It's a taste of protein. Now, a fun fact about that is that it was actually derived from Japanese, and it means delicious taste. Alright, now taste is mainly associated with the tongue. Taste begins at the surface of the tongue, and the tongue is actually lined by a layer known as the stratus squamous epithelium, which actually also lines the oral cavity. Now, on the surface, there are also raised bumps that are goblet-shaped, and they are called papilla. There are actually 3 types: circumvallate, foliate, and fungiform. Now, inside these papilla are the taste buds. And taste buds are specialized taste cells that respond to chemical stimuli. And in turn, they activate sensory nerve fibers. Now, taste buds are made up of 50 receptor cells. Now, I really wanted to touch on each taste or each somatolite of taste so that you'd really get a better understanding of how the process. Now, salty items, when ingested, are detected by the sense of sodium concentration in saliva. As sodium becomes higher in concentration outside the taste cells, concentration gradient drives their diffusion into the cells. This then depolarizes them, causing a release in neurotransmitters. Now, sour items, when ingested, are detected by hydrogen concentration released from acidic substances like lemons, as you can see in this picture from this little baby with its cute pucker face. Now, as concentration of hydrogen ions increase, there is an increase in depolarization, thus increasing the release of neurotransmitters. Alright, now sweet, bitter, and umami are similar in the fact that they are transduced by G protein and cell surface receptors. The sensitivity of taste cells when there is a presence of glucose dissolved in the saliva. Bitter is actually farther back and it's closer to the pharynx. It is stimulated by a large number of molecules known as alkaloids, and most of these alkaloids actually originate from plant sources like coffee. Now, when there are a lot of alkaloids in a substance, it can cause overstimulation, thus causing the gag reflex. Now, umami is transduced a little differently. This taste occurs when amino acids, specifically glutamate, are present. Umami is mostly associated with meat-containing dishes. So, it has a taste of protein, as I stated earlier. Are responses to stimuli, such as a donut causing dissolving of glucose in saliva. Gustatory receptor cells detect taste. In other words, they determine whether something is salty, sweet, bitter, sour, or umami. Each gustatory cell has a spindly-like fiber attached to it called a gustatory hair. The hair reaches the outer environment through taste pores. Now, these cells synapse with sensory neurons at the base of the taste bud. They activate once the molecules are dissolved in the saliva and they bind to the membrane. Once activated, the cell releases neurotransmitter to the appropriate cranial nerves, in turn initiating action potential. Now let's talk about perception. Perception is how the brain perceives a specific stimuli. In other words, it's how it reacts. When we get through the process of sensation of taste, we are able to determine perception. Once the gustatory impulse is activated by the stimulus, they release a neurotransmitter to the sensory neurons known as the cranial nerves. These cranial nerves are specifically the glossopharyngeal, which is located in the posterior 2/3 of the tongue, the facial, which is located anterior 1/3 of the tongue, and the vagus, which is located in the extreme posterior closest to the pharynx. The neurotransmitters then travel from the cranial nerves to the solitary tract, then making its way to the thalamus. The thalamus, in response, is responsible for relaying info to the primary gustatory cortex. This is where perception of taste is processed. As you know, we went through all of the processes, the normal process of how taste is goes to sensation and perception, but there are several factors that can affect taste. Age being one, the way your neurons process different things. As you know, neurons die as you age, so those sensations and perceptions won't be as heightened or as stronger as they would when you were younger. Other things that can affect it are vision impairment, central nervous tumors, and there are definitely several other arrays that can affect it as well. I really wanted to tie in a cool article that related to taste, so guys, check this out. It is called Testing a Tasting Test for Depression. A psychiatrist named Jan Milliker believed you could diagnose and treat depression based off of a taste test. In 2006, Milliker and a psychologist named Lucy Donaldson put their theory to test. They flavor on the tongue of participants. It was so faint they were unable to detect it. Then they gave participants a pill that boosted brain levels of either serotonin or noradrenaline. A jump in serotonin caused participants to taste sweet, and a noradrenaline jump caused participants to taste sour. Distribution among participants was varied. Milliker and Donaldson did not stop there. They believed that those who were depressed had blunter taste buds. This theory is still being tested, but they believe, if true, the opposite drug would reverse effects. So I really want to thank you guys for watching my presentation. I hope you guys all enjoyed, and that's all, folks.